a lot of gossip about some of the stuff that we present to them at the CDD conference. Get ready for Series 2. It's going to be the chase for Schaefer.
Yeah, if Black Diamond was any indicator, I'm sure the chase for that Schaefer Young Gun is going to be off the charts. Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of Nonsense on Ice. Doug Plagens with you, and well, this is where we talk hockey and we talk the hobby. Nonsense on Ice, presented by our friends at Upper Deck, and we have a lot of news to catch up on today here. We're going to talk about how all of it impacts the hobby. The Cup has been out for a bit, and we have some big time sales to talk about from that. We're going to highlight a value vintage pick as we always do. We're going to highlight a value break spot as we always do. Of course, we're going to have the Hobby 3 stars. We can't have a week go by without highlighting the Hobby 3 stars. And tell you what, this week, I think we have our first ever 2-time Hobby 3 star. Our first repeat. You have to do a lot to get into the Hobby 3 stars again, especially since, well, Nonsense on Ice here, the long and storied history dates back over a month at this point in time. Well, we do have a repeat Hobby 3 star, but the player we're going to highlight is making that much noise and is that topical that we are going to have somebody make their way back into the Hobby 3 stars. Mentioned some big sales out of the Cup. We're going to highlight those. We've got a couple of mailbag questions later on, and we have a guest segment coming up as well. Billy Celio, senior product developer, senior product manager at Upper Deck. He's going to stop by. We'll talk the hobby with him. We'll talk about the Cup. We'll talk about the buzz surrounding the 25-26 rookie class. Good conversation coming up with Billy Celio from Upper Deck. So you have lots to look forward to. Some big trades in the National Hockey League. We'll talk about the hobby impact of that as well. So again, lots to get to here. And let's dive right in. I mentioned those trades. If you follow the NHL closely, I'm sure you heard something about the two big deals that came down on Friday. We are recording on a Sunday, so at the time of this recording, a couple of days back, the Blockbuster, Quinn Hughes, from Vancouver to the Minnesota Wild. There had been some rumors flying around. Turns out Quinn Hughes ends up being moved by the Canucks. So in terms of breaking down the trade, we'll go through the parts that got moved each way in the trade, and then we'll talk about the impact on the hobby. And then there was that trade also between the Penguins and the Oilers. We'll get to that here shortly. But Quinn Hughes, as you know, 7th overall 2018, won the Norris in 2024. As far as I'm concerned, one of the biggest game changers, one of the most electrifying, exciting players in the National Hockey League. He's on a short list of guys that truly can bring you out of your seat every time you watch a game. He was a rookie as far as the hobby's concerned, back in the 1920 products, 2019-2020. His Upper Deck Young Guns, number 249, PSA 10 sales around $180 approximately. Raw sales around $60 right now. So those are moving really well. He went to Minnesota in the trade. Like I said, the cards, those have always been moving. There was some buzz around them, obviously, after the trade. As far as the other parts moving in that trade, Vancouver got Zeev Buium, who's got rookie cards coming out in this year's products. Öhgren, first-round pick back in 2022 of the Wild, still only 21 years old. Marco Rossi, 2020, 9th overall pick of the Wild, 60 points in 82 games last year for him. So 3 guys who were first-round picks of the Wild and Minnesota's 2026 first-round pick moving the other way to Vancouver. So those are the parts that move. You had Quinn Hughes going to the Wild, Buium, Öhgren, Rossi, and a first going to Vancouver. Like I said, the hobby impact on this, the Quinn Hughes rookie cards, you can pick up the PSA 10 Young Guns around $180, card number 249 back in the 1920 set. And again, we highlight the Young Guns PSA 10s a lot because it is just a good baseline comparison when you look at different players' cards and their hobby value and the buzz that they're picking up in the hobby. SP Authentic Future Watch autos for Quinn Hughes as well. That's always something to look at, and I do love SP Authentic. There was a $544 sale on a PSA 10 back on December the 13th. So again, at the time of this recording, yesterday. If you're wondering where I am, I've been all over the place this week. The Florida Panthers are on a road trip. I'm in Tampa. Panthers Lightning tomorrow. So that's why I'm in this set of surroundings right here, coming to you from a hotel. And I'm at the end of a road trip. The Panthers were in Utah, Colorado, Dallas. Now here we are in Tampa before we head home for a few games. So if you're wondering about the surroundings, I should have touched on that right off the top. So Quinn Hughes on the move, lots of buzz around his cards. And again, this is a guy that I think has all the ability in the world and is going to be one of the stars in the National Hockey League for the next decade plus. As far as I'm concerned, a safe buy if you're looking for players' cards to pick up next time you're out shopping around. As far as what Vancouver got in the trade, Zeev Buium, he doesn't have a young gun yet. You could probably expect that here before too long as the hobby calendar year goes along. But the 12th overall pick in 2024 just turned 20 years old. Actually, at the time of this recording today, he played his first game for his new team. And in his first game for Vancouver, had a goal and an assist. Both points were on the power play. So he's going to get some big minutes. Big opportunity for him to go into Vancouver from Minnesota and play for the Canucks. And like I said, looks like he's going to get ample power play time, things like that. As far as the Zeev Buium card market here at this point, like I said, doesn't have a young gun yet. His Upper Deck artifacts, the Sky Blue rookie, you can pick up raw versions of that, $12 to $15. He has a lot of numbered cards out of Black Diamond that you can grab in the $10 to $20 range. Patches, $20 to $30. And the autos out of Black Diamond, I saw sales recently, just varying autos, $67 to $85 recent sales. All sales data from our friends at Card Ladder. And, there are some good options there as far as the Zeev Buium rookie cards are concerned. And there will be more as the hobby calendar year comes along. He was going to be one of the big buzz rookies anyway. But now that this has happened, that he's gone to Vancouver, he's going to get a ton of opportunity there. That buzz certainly isn't going to diminish at all. Liam Öhgren, this is an interesting one because I think there's going to be a little bit more opportunity for him going to a Vancouver team that's now in a bit of transition. 19th overall pick in 2022, still on his entry-level contract, still only 21 years old. His young guns were in 24-25, so last year's rookie class. You can pick up raw versions of that $2 to $3. That's not a bad one to grab just to take a flyer on a guy who was a first round pick not too long ago that is going to probably get a bigger opportunity in Vancouver than he had. The Future Watch autos, raw, of course, $25, $30 for Liam Öhgren. Marco Rossi. Now, this is the most proven player in the trade that Vancouver got. He was a rookie back in the 22-23 products. His young guns, I was actually surprised to see this. Raw sales of his young guns, $7 to $10. The recent sales. So again, for a guy who had a 60-point year last year for Minnesota, going to Vancouver figures to be a big part of their plans, and looks like he's in year one of a 3-year deal, and he's going to be an RFA, restricted free agent, in the 2028 offseason. So Vancouver got a handful of assets here that are under team control for a long time. So these are going to be guys that are going to have a chance to grow as Vancouver Canucks and to be a part of what's going to be a little bit of a transition post Quinn Hughes. Getting back to Quinn Hughes, he has the rest of this season and next season left on his current contract now with the Minnesota Wild. Because he's there, they have the ability to offer him that extra year, things like that. We'll see how everything goes in terms of what the future beyond next year looks like for Quinn Hughes, but that's just a look at his contract situation. But if you're looking at this trade, Vancouver, I'm sure difficult to part with a guy like Quinn Hughes. I know I love watching Quinn Hughes play, but they got a first-round pick and 3 guys who were first-round picks who all seem to have pretty bright futures. And Zeev Buium has elite potential. That's a player to watch for sure, and he's going to have more rookie cards roll out as the hobby year goes along. So that was the big blockbuster trade on Friday. The first trade of the day. Back on Friday, the Oilers got Tristan Jarry, veteran goaltender. He'd only ever been with the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. He goes from Pittsburgh to Edmonton, where he has ties, played major junior hockey there with the Oil Kings. Pittsburgh got the veteran goaltender Stuart Skinner, who's in the final year of his contract, and Brett Kulak, veteran defenseman who's in the final year of his contract, and a 2029 second-round pick. Should also mention Edmonton got a guy who was a first-round pick of the Penguins back in 2019, Sam Poulin, as well in the trade. So in looking at what Edmonton got, Tristan Jarry, he's in year 3 on a 5-year contract. If we're talking about it from the perspective of the hobby, His young guns were back in his young guns rookies can be picked up $13 to $16 right now. There was some buzz after the trade was made. He was a rookie back in the 16-17 products. There was a PSA 10 sale per card ladder of $130 on the day of the trade. So I would imagine big Oilers fan went and grabbed that. And Sam Poulin, you can pick up his raw young guns from a couple of years back, the 22-23 set for about $2. He's about a point a game, just under a point a game in the American Hockey League. Big right winger who was a 21st overall pick back in 2019. There is some potential there, no question about it. We'll see what the future holds for him. But Tristan Jarry was the name in the trade, the bigger name that Edmonton got. And I tell you what, the long-term play here would be if the Oilers do get over the hump and find a way to win a Stanley Cup, and Tristan Jarry's the guy in net, then he would kind of develop a mystique. His star would rise that much more if he's able to help Edmonton get to where in this era they have not gotten yet. So again, that would be the ceiling for Tristan Jarry. Wait and see. But hey, young guns, $13 to $16 if you want to take a flyer on one of those. Pittsburgh gets Stuart Skinner. Like I said, his young guns rookie cards, I saw recent sales anywhere from $5 to $13. He was a rookie back in the 22-21 hobby, or the 2021 hobby year. The 2020-21 hobby year. Saying lots of 20s. He was a rookie back in 2021. Number 496, his young guns, like I said, the raw sales, $5 to $13. In the last year of the contract, Pittsburgh has Archer Seelovs in net. They have a prospect on the way, Sergei Murashov. So whether or not Stuart Skinner finishes the season in Pittsburgh, we'll just wait and see. There's potentially value to move him later on. We'll see what Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins decide to do. Same thing goes for Brett Kulak. And I like Brett Kulak as an NHL defenseman, not a huge hobby market there. You can pick up his 15-16 Young Guns cards for about $1 if you're a big Penguins collector and you just want to go out and get a rookie of the newest Penguins defenseman. But that's another guy who maybe he won't even be a Pittsburgh Penguin by the time the season's over with. He's on an expiring contract. Defensemen are always in demand. Maybe he finds another home as the year goes on. But two goaltenders who maybe needed a change of scenery, and who knows what the rest of the season holds for Stuart Skinner. In the case of Tristan Jarry, if he is able to help Edmonton get over the hump, if he can recapture the form that we've seen him have at times throughout his National Hockey League career, there could be some upside hobby-wise as far as he's concerned. But again, big trades made, some storylines there. That was really the biggest story to come out of the week as far as roster movement was concerned. But there was some injury news too. We had a star player coming back. We had a star player going out. The good news first, Connor Hellebuyck made his return for the Winnipeg Jets back on Saturday, got the win in net over Washington, made 24 saves in the victory. Good news for the Jets, good news for Team USA down the road. Figures to be the number one guy when the Olympics get going for Team USA, and one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League. The league's better with Connor Hellebuyck between the pipes, and well, good to see him get back in net. Connor Bedard, we're still waiting. At the time of this recording, we're waiting for some clarity on that. He was injured Friday night. Right at the end of the game, he was injured off a face-off, and he took a bump from Braden Shen, and then he left the game. He was in some discomfort, and it sounds like we're going to get some clarity. Again, recording on a Sunday. At the time of this recording, we'll get some clarity, I believe, on Monday was what the reports all said. But Connor Bedard, that's a tough one for the Chicago Blackhawks, tough one for the league, and a tough one to, I guess, just for hobbyists as well. But I'll tell you this, he takes a bump, he takes a bruise. That, to me, isn't any reason to panic as far as Connor Bedard's hobby value is concerned. You hope he can shake it off, get back on the ice as quickly as possible, because same thing I said with Connor Hellebuyck. The NHL's better with Connor Bedard playing, so hopefully he can shake off whatever happened. You wish him the best there. And if you're holding Connor Bedard cards, like I said, I wouldn't be trying to liquidate my Connor Bedard collection just because now he's dealing with a little bit of an injury at this point. We'll see, again, how things are, what the extent of it is, everything like that. I'm sure we're going to learn more in the coming days. But from a hobby perspective, I wouldn't panic sell my Connor Bedard cards with that. I think the world of Connor Bedard's ability. And like I said, he's going to be a star in this league for a long time to come. Another storyline, and this, I almost made this a hobby 3-star. I almost made this a hobby 3-star, but I decided to make this player a separate storyline because it's an interesting one. Brandon Bussi, the goaltender for the Carolina Hurricanes, they picked him up before the season. He has rookie cards in 24-25. So last year he was a Boston Bruin in the rookie card. Brandon Bussi, undrafted out of Western Michigan. He's 27 years old. He's 10-0-1 in his first 11 decisions for Carolina. Fastest goalie to 10 career victories. He's setting records. He's on the map now. He doesn't have many rookie cards. And again, it's really become quite a story for Brandon Bussi. You look at his career so far, great numbers in the American Hockey League in the Boston organization, but he was always kind of blocked organizationally. They've had Linus Ullmark in the past. They have Jeremy Swayman. They've had Jonas Korpisalo. They've had veteran goaltenders there. And so he was just biding his time in the American Hockey League and then started to bounce around a little bit, finds himself now in Carolina, where that can be a good situation for a goaltender to make their way into the National Hockey League under Rod Brind'Amour. They play such a sound team defensive game that sometimes they insulate goaltenders. They don't ask as much out of their goaltender as some other teams might. And he's also in a situation where the other two goalies in Raleigh, Frederik Andersen, Pyotr Kochetkov, they both have had some injury issues. So the door was kind of open for Bussi to come in and stake his claim. And that he has. At the time of our recording here, he is going to start later on today for the Carolina Hurricanes against the Philadelphia Flyers. And it'll be an attempt for him to get to 11-0-1. It's been a heck of a story for this guy. And like I said, he doesn't have a lot of rookie cards. If you go back to last year, number 493 in the Upper Deck set, he was that was his Young Guns. And the raw sales of that, about $4 to $8 right now. And again, if you want to take a chance on a guy, because he's playing for a team that just hasn't been able to get over that playoff hump. They've had conference finals appearances, haven't been able to get to a Stanley Cup final. If somehow he ends up being the guy that becomes the number one and helps push them to heights they haven't been to before, the future could be pretty bright for this guy. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll see what kind of opportunity he gets. Like I said, they do have a lot invested in the other two goalies they have there, Frederik Andersen and Pyotr Kochetkov, but Brandon Bussi's winning hockey games, and for that reason, he is somebody to watch. You do have all the parallels from last year in Upper Deck, and then he had an SP Authentic Future Watch non-autograph. The limited reds, $3 to $8 right now. And then he did have, and I reached out to Ty the Card Guy. He hadn't seen it yet. He does have a 1-of-1 printing plate booklet in the cup. Haven't seen it yet. Not sure if it's been open. Not sure if maybe somebody has it and they just haven't made a big deal about it. Maybe it's still in a box someplace, but he does have a 1-of-1 out of the cup. And I haven't seen it yet personally. Comment, let us know, send a message along, tweet at Doug Plagens, Instagram at Doug Plagens. Let us know if you've seen that anywhere. I haven't, but maybe somebody out there has it. We'll just have to wait and see. But Brandon Bussi has become a story, and he has made what was already a deep 24-25 rookie card class in the hobby that much deeper. So those are some of the storylines, folks, storylines within the hobby. I just wanted to mention some of the sales numbers that are coming in from the Cup. The product's been out for, at this point, going on 2 weeks. Some big sales, just jotting a few down off a card ladder. Macklin Celebrini, as you'd imagine, he is front and center as far as the biggest sales from the product, but per card ladder, just rattling off a few of them. Macklin Celebrini Gold Foil Rookie Patch Auto out of 24, a sale just shy of $32,000. A Macklin Celebrini base rookie patch auto out of 99 that was labeled as a 4-color patch. $24,000 sale there per card ladder. $7,500 on a Macklin Celebrini rookie masterpieces autograph 1-of-1. So some big Macklin Celebrini sales, but he wasn't the only guy. Will Smith base rookie patch auto out of 99. There was a sale for $7,400 on one of those. A Matvei Michkov exquisite patch auto 1-of-1, just under $4,700 on one of those. Elaine Hudson, the highest one per card ladder that I'd seen so far. Gold foil rookie patch auto out of 24, $4,250. And there was also a Logan Stankoven Rookie Shield 1-of-1 $4,126. So a handful of different players, all rookies, sales over $4,000. The cup, beautiful cards, great product, and it goes beyond just the rookies. There's some awesome stuff coming out of the cup with the veteran guys as well. Lots to look for there, but just wanted to rattle off some of the sales data per card ladder of some of the biggest sales that have come out of the cup so far. Folks, we are going to get to our guest segment now. When we come back, we will have the Hobby 3-Stars. Like I said, the first repeat Hobby 3-Star in the long and storied history of Nonsense on Ice. We'll have that coming up. Guess what we're also going to do? We're going to open, never opposed to retail. We're going to open this Series 1 Upper Deck blaster at the end of the show, and this is one of the ones that has the exclusive oversized young gun in each box. So we'll have a quick rip at the end as well, some mailbag questions. Stick around, but coming up in just a moment, again, Nonsense on Ice presented by Upper Deck. Joining me, it'll be Billy Celio from Upper Deck, where he is the senior product developer, senior product manager. Great conversation. Let's get to it. Well, really honored to be joined by our special guest today. He is a senior product manager from Upper Deck, kind enough to take some time here for us on Nonsense on Ice, presented by Upper Deck. Billy Celio here. Billy, thank you so much for stopping by. And how are things for you today? Great to see you.
Doing great. We're just we're having a nice little office gathering. I snuck into a side room. I've got a nice fake fireplace behind me, but ready to talk hockey cards.
Well, very festive. I feel more festive with the fireplace there behind you, whether it's real or not. Can't tell. It's a nice backdrop you have there. Billy Celio here with us. And Billy, first thing, I want to dive right in. Obviously, the cup has been the big news in the hockey card world over these last couple of weeks. The build up to the cup, all the ripping of the cup, seeing all the great cards come out of it. For you, what was the biggest point of excitement leading up to the release, and how exciting has it been for you to see the rollout of the cup and to see all these beautiful cards hit the marketplace?
So you know what's funny is, like, I started working on this over a year ago, and it takes time to build a set like this. And when we do case checks and open up cards, I never really get excited. My job is to make sure that the cards fall in the right spot in the boxes and the cases. And they'll be like, oh, we pulled the Connor McDavid auto. I'm like, that's great. The one time a year I get excited is when they fly me out we hand pack the cup. And I'm one of the people that sits there and has stacks of cards and figures out all the packs and the cards and puts them in the tins. And that's the one time a year I get excited about cards. I just the stuff that we put in that set, when I first started working at Upper Deck, I have a picture, and I'm so mad I didn't take it up one with myself, but I took a picture of my boss standing there with all 99 Connor McDavid rookie auto patches just lined up numerically, and just sitting there now and thinking how many millions and millions of dollars that stack of cards are. And that's what I'm looking at when I go to the cup pack out, the potential. And, we like to save our legends for high end and premium products. And this is where you're going to see Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Steve Yzerman. You're going to see those guys more often in something like the cup, as opposed to, like our flagship brands. So just being able to see that, just being able to, 16 months of just work, coming up with the set, working on the designs, working on the checklists, all that, from beginning to end. And it's not just me. It's obviously many different divisions and groups of people. But to finally see it end, and then getting to do the videos of the market. Those are my ugly hands that you see in the marketing videos. But just being able to finally see it finished was great. And then the response, I've been doing the cup now for about 10 years. I've had some help starting off because it was new to me, and there were some trial and tribulations, but I think we kind of got a groove of how to do this and how to create some really nice looking cards, and bringing it on someone like Gene McLeod also, who built us some of the designs, and some of our other lead designers that have been working on the cup year after year. I don't really have to explain some of those inserts too much. I can just be like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And they know year after year what we're looking for. So to finally see it finished has been great. And then just the response, there's been how many times have you seen people say, "Oh my gosh, I got a huge hit. This is, one of the biggest hits in the set." And then, 10 minutes later, 30 minutes later, somebody else on another podcast is saying the exact same thing. Like they're getting a huge hit. So trust me, there's a lot more huge hits out there that people haven't even seen yet.
And a couple things, well, there are multiple directions I'd love to go off of what you just said there. Was there an element of this year's release, this 24-25 release, that in particular had you excited, or that you saw as maybe a tweak from previous years that you were really curious to see how it would play? Was there something that you were really excited, just an element from this release in particular that made it unique?
So some of the new stuff I really liked. I've made some new inserts, and some of them are great. Some of them, didn't come back the next year. But something like the monumental pucks, which is something new, where we basically took the whole top of a game-used puck and had the player sign it, and it's like a booklet to when you open it up. It's like a full puck. That one's pretty awesome. As I mentioned, having Jean, she came up with the elegant etching design where she's just like, I've got this paper I really want to use, and this. I go, great. I'll give you the subject. It's almost like I'll give you the subject, you write the paper. And she did a beautiful job with that design. And then the lavish ones I think look really cool, where it's kind of like the black and white image, and then it has like the autograph really pops with the blue paint pen on top of a black and white image. So those are three of the new designs that I was really excited about. Couldn't wait to see how they turned out. And when they actually turn out how you want them, that's the best part. And I think all three of them did.
Well, I think that's the first thing you notice with this release year over year, and no different this time around. The cards are beautiful. They just are outstanding looking. Everything that you see come out of the product. So again, congratulations to you and everybody on this accomplishment. Every time you put out a set like this, it's just awesome for the entire hobby. I don't have to tell you this, but we've been really lucky in the sport and in the hockey hobby, the level of young talent that we've had the last few years. And with Macklin Celebrini kind of rising to superstardom, kind of driving that 24-25 rookie class, how much have you guys felt his buzz in particular and his buzz just in connection with this release of the Cup?
Oh, for sure. And, the Cup does come out late, and sometimes it comes out the year after their rookie season, which is, can be frustrating for some people because they want that Cup rookie card their rookie year. But building this set, and when we're looking at the checklist and when we're looping this product to figure out like what the case hits are and what the other hits are, it was amazing sitting there looking at this list, and Celebrini has been phenomenal. But then now you've got some of those other younger players that you talked about, where like Connor Bedard has like caught fire also. So now his autographs are doing very well, and you still have big names like the legends I mentioned, and the Connor McDavids, and the Alex Ovechkins, and the Austin Matthews, and the Sidney Crosbys. All of these people are spread throughout the product. So when I'm sitting there looking at a Wayne Gretzky autograph, and that's not a case hit, when I'm looking at a Connor McDavid autograph, and that's not a case hit, that tells you how strong this product is this year. And a lot of that has to do with exactly what you said, the young talent just continually improving and adding to the depth of what a checklist can be for a product like this.
Yeah, I love that you use that word depth, because I was thinking that as you were talking. That's what all the products seem to have right now. So much depth and variation, different things to look for. And it's just part of why I think right now is a really special time to be a hockey collector. And if you're not, a great time to jump on board. Billy, your collecting background, your card background, if you could give us maybe the Reader's Digest version, where did it begin and how did it get to this point with you working at Upper Deck?
So my dad, I'll give you the quick version. My dad collected cards when he was a kid. It was one of those things that we could do together. I acted up as a kid all the time. My parents were always disciplining me and making sure I behaved myself. But the one thing that we could do together was trading cards, and we would do card shows in East Lansing area. John Smoltz used to have his show at the church in Lansing, and so we would always do that together. We would get a table there. I really started collecting big, probably started in '84. Donruss Baseball was a big, that was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Wanted to get that Don Mattingly rookie card. Obviously, Mark McGuire, 85 tops, 87 tops. I went hardcore. That was the first year I really got into trading cards. And then after that, just started collecting like you hear a lot, like college time, and after college you kind of take a break and then kind of get back into it. Like, oh, I remember collecting, and let's get back into it. Go to the card shop. There was one, Capital City Cards, I think it was. I would go to all the time. Stop by there, pick up a box of cards, and then moved to California. Kind of would go by the card shop every now and then, but California is, there's you gotta work hard out here. So didn't have enough time to play. And I was talking to a friend, and he's like, I don't know what your situation is right now, but Richard McWilliams passed away. He goes, I'm the president. And it was Jason Mashra, who I went to college with his wife. And we hung out a few times before this ever happened. And he goes, well, I let my people hire who they want, but I can, put your resume in there. And I did. And I did the phone interview. I did a couple phone interviews. I did an in-person interview. And my boss, Grant Sandground, really kind of liked what he saw. It's a weird mix of having knowledge in trading cards and also having knowledge in building stuff and numbers and whatnot. I came from the restaurant business. So what used to be liquor costs, food costs, labor costs, mise en scènes, all that stuff is now paper costs, autograph costs, photo costs. Like, you just got to learn how to manipulate the numbers. I don't sit there and make the checklist. I've got guys that can tell you who the third line defenseman on a CHL team is, or, but know the whole roster of every AHL team. Like, I don't do that. I can't do that. I can't draw. I draw stick figures in my briefs. I draw little stick figures of people, and like, this is what I'm looking for. And we got some of the best designers in the business. So I let people do what they do. I just kind of come up with the structure of what the set's going to look like, and then kind of see it through.
And on that note, Billy, and there are so many different questions I would have from that too, but you mentioned the process of building a set. Take an annual release, for example. You're just any annual release. When does that process begin, and what are the major kind of checkpoints along the way that would lead up to ultimately that product being on shelves for collectors to go and grab?
So to put it into perspective, I just briefed probably about 3 weeks ago, 26-27 Upper Deck Flagship Series 2. So that means I worked on that a few weeks to a month before that. So I start there. I figured out the build. I figured all the inserts. I get everything passed by legal. I make sure Brand thinks everything is okay with the league of what I'm doing. And then I have this big meeting after I write like a 20 to 40 page brief about describing everything I want on each insert. Then I have this meeting, go over it with everybody, and then move on to the process of, okay, now the designers start working on the designs. We might see the Young Gun design first, and then we might see, the base card and the Young Guns are usually the two first ones, and then they start working on stuff like portraits and the canvas design and stuff, and then they slowly work their way, and that could take months of just working on the designs, and then they have to, while this is going on, people are working on the checklist. And then once the checklist is done, our photo team is picking photos. And then they have, the photo team has the color correct team. And then pre-press has to make sure the layouts of the forms once we get the cards finished and everything, then they have to do the layouts. And then we have to send all those layouts to the vendor, and the vendor prints the stuff. A lot of people don't know, we actually don't print the cards ourselves. That hasn't happened in quite some time. We send it to vendors who print the cards. And then we have to kind of send direction of how we want these cards to fall in packages and in packs and boxes and cases. And we have a meeting for that. And then about a month later, it's finally said and done. And it's shipped, and it's sent off to our distributors.
So many different layers to that I think a lot of folks, myself included, don't think about, whether it's items going through legal. And you mentioned, obviously, the process of choosing the photos and the directions cards are going, so many different things. And I know for somebody like me who's been in the hobby since the late 80s, my first pack of cards was 1989 Topps Baseball, Billy, just to kind of put it back in perspective. But just fascinating to think of all the different directions that it has to go. This year, obviously, you look at these last couple of years and a lot of great names. We talked about the rookies, but I think in hindsight, you might have 23, 24 referenced as the Bedard year, kind of like 15, 16 is the McDavid year. You might have the Bedard year. Maybe the Celebrini year is 24, 25 down the road. I guess waiting to see which big rookie's going to claim 25, 26. Could be the Demidov year, could be the Matthew Schaefer year, could be somebody else. But what's been the buzz, I guess, going into this year, Billy? The 25, 26 rookie class looks like it's in a great place. Are you guys feeling this continued buzz with this crop of young stars?
Yeah, I think we're really excited about Schaefer. I think he's doing stuff, and he's an amazing player at his age and doing stuff that is quite exceptional. It's hard to come into the league immediately and do stuff. When some of our rookies have had slow starts, we kind of compare them to someone like Steven Stamkos, who, it took a while for him to get going, and look at what kind of career he's had since. But to get it out the gate is pretty special. So we're really excited about Schaefer. And then obviously for Series 1, like Demidov was a huge, everyone was really excited about him and starting the season. And that Montreal fan base is quite strong. So to have someone wearing a Canadiens jersey as the top rookie, that's always a big deal, not only for hockey but for hockey card manufacturers.
And Billy, you personally talked about your collecting background a little bit. What's the PC? What's in the PC? What do you like to grab from time to time?
I'm a Michigan guy. I've been in California now for about 17 years, but I'm telling you, I'm still Detroit everything. I'm a Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons, fan, Lions. I joked with you when I gave you my phone number, like, hey, you can give my phone number to Jeff Petrie, because one, he was a Red Wing, and two, his dad won a World Series when I was a little kid. So, big time that I collect a lot of Upper Deck stuff. I mean, why not? I'm a big wrestling fan. I've built a lot of the AEW sets. But what a lot of people know me, if they know, like me personally, they know I also collect autographs. I'm a big autograph collector. When I say autographs, I'm not talking necessarily trading cards. I collect, I go out and get autographs, celebrity autographs, entertainment autographs. One of the big things I'm working on right now is a Marvel Black Diamond Exquisite set that we had put out, and I'm trying to get them all signed by the actors. I just got Gwyneth Paltrow a couple days ago, and I'm trying for Paul Rudd tomorrow at the Anaconda premiere that they're having in LA. That's the good thing, is I'm not that far from LA that I can kind of do some of this stuff. But that's kind of and I do like UFC. I'm a UFC fan also. So not necessarily the big sports. Like, I'll collect my Detroit people, but I don't collect a lot of football, basketball, or baseball unless they're wearing Detroit on their jersey.
Well, you're speaking my language, because I mean, I'm one of those people that kind of collects a little bit of everything, which sometimes some people might call that spreading yourself too thin. I call it, I'm just interested in a lot of different avenues of collecting. So you're speaking my language with that. And you mentioned Jeff Petrie. The Panthers did their dad's trip not too long ago, and I got a chance to chat with Dan a little bit, and it was great to be able to talk with him as a going back, a Michigan native myself. So great to have a couple of Michiganders here chatting. Billy, won't take too much of your time here. Last thing, we'll leave it on the 2025 calendar years coming to a close here pretty soon. I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anything maybe I didn't ask you about that could be a teaser for something that collectors might be able to look forward to in 2026?
Well, we've got Series 2's coming out. There's a lot of the classic stuff. There's some stuff that, unfortunately, we have our CDD conference here in a few weeks in LA, and you're going to hear a lot of news about a lot of amazing and exciting stuff that we're doing. A lot of people have questioned our innovation, unfortunately, and I can tell you there's going to be a lot of gossip about some of the stuff that we present to them. at the CDD conference, but unfortunately I can't speak upon that yet. So just get ready for Series 2. It's going to be the chase for Schaefer, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, if Black Diamond was any indicator, I'm sure the chase for that Schaefer Young Gun is going to be off the charts. I'm sure you guys felt that with Black Diamond.
Yeah, and that Gold Outburst card is going to be probably one of the most sought after non-shield cards of the year.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting, and what he's doing on the ice, as you said, is special for a guy who's going to be 18 years old this entire season, which is pretty unfathomable for him to be doing what he's doing at that age. Billy Celio, Senior Product Developer, Senior Product Manager at Upper Deck. We thank you so much for your time, and already can't wait to chat with you again down the road. But it's been great having you here on the show. Thank you so much for taking some time for us.
Yeah, looking forward to it and love what you're doing. I think I messaged you right after your first show and appreciated it a lot. So I can't wait to watch and listen some more.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by everything that you get to do on a day-to-day basis. It just sounds awesome as somebody who's just had an eye on the hobby forever. So again, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Nonsense on Ice presented by Upper Deck, and we thank Billy Celio from Upper Deck for stopping by. Great conversation there. We could have gone for 2 hours talking to him about all things hobby, but he is, again, Senior Product Developer, Senior Product Manager at Upper Deck, and we thank him very much for his time and feel pretty confident saying we're going to be checking in with Billy again down the road. So again, we thank him very much for his time there. It was great to visit with him. Folks, it is time for one of the most anticipated parts of Nonsense on Ice each and every week. The Hobby 3 Stars. You never want to miss it. You don't have to miss it because we're going to get to it right now. Folks, how about we start it off with a goaltender? Ilya Sorokin from the New York Islanders. He is on a hot streak of hot streaks right now. 5-0-0 in December at the time of this recording. He was the NHL's #1 star of the week from December 1st to the 7th. He's 5-0 here in the month of December, a .942 save percentage, a 1.94 goals against average. What's more, in November, he was just as stingy between the pipes. A 2.01 goals against average, .923 save percentage back in November, a month in which he made 9 appearances in net. So like I said, he was the #1 star of the week in the National Hockey League for the week December 1st to the 7th. I was actually surprised to see how affordably you can grab a PSA 10 Ilya Sorokin Young Gun. Going back to the 2021 hobby year, his Young Guns rookie card, number 461 in Upper Deck that year, the Upper Deck base set. Since November 25th, pretty wide range of sales from $26 to $47. 10 to 15 bucks on raw versions of that card. I was pretty surprised to see that you can grab PSA 10 Young Guns at the time of this recording for 50 bucks or less for one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League. And if the Islanders ahead of schedule are to get on some form of a run late in the year and get into the playoffs and make a deep run, he is going to be right in the middle of it, and he's going to be one of the biggest reasons for it, and certainly would put him in the, at this point in the year, he's a guy that could emerge as a Vezina finalist down the road. There's still a lot of hockey to be played, but Ilya Sorokin, certainly somebody to pay attention to in the hobby, his Young Guns from back in 2021. Surprised to see how reasonably you can grab one of those. Somebody who's going to cost you a little bit more, but he's been on a heck of an offensive tear lately. Jason Robertson, 17 goals in the last 17 games that he's played at the time of this recording. He was a rookie back in the 2021 hobby year. His Young Guns, number 235 in Upper Deck that year. Since December 1st, PSA 10 sales anywhere from $100 to $130. Before the season started, you could have grabbed that card around $75, $80. So there's been a noticeable increase and a noticeable rise in the prices of Jason Robertson cards. And he's been on a heck of a scoring run. He is an elite goal scorer. And again, coming into this season, contract year, maybe he's motivated by trying to make Team USA, by being left off the Four Nations roster for Team USA last year, and he's on a Dallas team that is trying to get over the hump. They're one of those teams that have had deep runs, multiple deep runs, but just haven't been able to win the Stanley Cup. And kind of like the Carolina Hurricanes in that regard, if they are going to get to where they ultimately want to go, the Dallas Stars, Jason Robertson is going to be right in the middle of it and a go-to guy for Dallas. One of my favorite players to watch in the National Hockey League, an elite goal scorer, and certainly could be a good buy as the season goes along. Folks, I mentioned that we were going to have our first repeat appearance in the Hobby 3 Stars. With all the hype that's gone around the Cup release from a couple of weeks back and everything that he's done as a 19-year-old, and he keeps getting stronger as the season goes along, we can't ignore Macklin Celebrini. So I guess a little bit of an update, and maybe it's going to be a feature every week on Nonsense on Ice moving forward, some form of a Macklin Celebrini check-in, a hobby check-in, just because he has made that much noise. At the time of our recording here, 47 points in 33 games. Yesterday, we're recording on a Sunday. Yesterday, the Sharks had a huge comeback against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They were down 5-1 in the third, came back and won the game in overtime. But in the middle of all that, we saw Macklin Celebrini sticking up for teammates, showing leadership, and he was right there leading the comeback as well. Macklin Celebrini scored the goal to get the Sharks to within one with less than 3 minutes left, assisted on the tying goal with less than 2 minutes left, and then assisted on the overtime winner that completed one of the greatest comebacks in Sharks history, and that's a history that dates back to 1991, erasing a 5-1 third period deficit, coming back to win. Macklin Celebrini right in the middle of it, again, showing skill, showing intangibles that are well beyond his age of 19. He has been beyond exciting to watch. Since the last time we talked about in Hobby 3 Stars, he hasn't had too much movement as far as his PSA 10 sales. They're still moving really strongly. Last few days, PSA 10 sales of his Young Guns rookie card, $853 to $929 per card ladder. Slab Sharks did have a PSA 10 Silver Outburst Young Guns sale, $2,940.75. So cool to see a parallel version of the Young Gun get a big sale there. But Macklin Celebrini, you can't ignore him in the hobby right now. And I tell you what, I know he's only 19, but you feel pretty comfortable about his future and his hobby future. His cards aren't cheap. There's no question about it. But again, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. He is a true building block, and he's going to be San Jose's #1 center, and I would imagine captain for a long time to come. Folks, let's get to a few other items before we wrap things up here on this week's edition of the program. A couple of mailbag questions coming in. Let's get to Mike on Twitter. He asks, what was my favorite product growing up? My favorite product growing up, Mike asks. And this was one I had to think about, and I'm still thinking about it. Full disclosure, I don't know that I've come up with one definite answer here, but I'm going to rattle off a handful of different things that came to mind. I mentioned it on last week's show. Really anything from 90-91, that rookie class was so good, so much fun. You had Sergei Fedorov and Jaromir Jagr and Matt Sundin and Mike Modano and Ed Belfour and Curtis Joseph and Marty Brodeur, even though he only had the score. Eric Lindros, even though he only had the score. There were so many great collectible rookies that year that anything from 90-91 really brings back memories for me. Also, the fact that that was really the first year that I can recall regularly ripping packs and opening boxes. So there was a lot of interest for me personally. I was really just first getting into it. That's really where the start of my collecting memories go, is that 90-91 year. And it was such a collectible year. Even though it was right in the heart of mass production, there's still a lot of fun stuff from that year. The O-Pee-Chee Premier set specifically is my favorite. And even though that was the one that when I was, a young kid and a few years after it was out, it was the most expensive of those. So I couldn't just buy endless packs of that. Every once in a while, I'd get one pack at the card show because the product was a few years old. And I think even in the mid 90s, packs of that were $7 or so. So it was a big pack to get when you could get a pack of 9091 O-Pee-Chee Premier. I've since gone out and grabbed a set of it. Like I said, down the road, I think we're going to do a little bit of a retrospective on 9091 O-Pee-Chee Premier and just kind of thumb through it and go through some of the highlights. But I love that set, and anything from 9091, which also happened to be the first year of Upper Deck hockey and the first year of Young Guns. So again, when we talk about Young Guns, like I said earlier in the show today, and I've mentioned it on previous episodes, the PSA 10 Young Gun is just a good baseline comparison card. That's why we tend to go to that one first. But it's also the history behind it. The Young Guns have a history in Upper Deck hockey going all the way back to the 9091 release, the first year release. So it's a segment in the hobby that has a lot of history, and that's why a big reason why it's been so collectible today. A few other ones that came to mind though, Mike, when I was thinking about some of my favorite products, even though I wasn't buying it during the initial run. Remember the 88-89 O-Pee-Chee and Topps, the design that had the thumbtack with the nameplate? I loved those cards. I remember buying a pack at a local card shop that I used to go to in the Detroit area that had old packs, and that was one of the packs at the time from yesteryear they had. I remember buying a pack of that and getting the Brett Hull and the Brendan Shanahan rookies in the same pack. That was a huge thrill for me back in the 90s. So at the time I bought that, it was probably like a decade-old pack. But I love that design. There are a lot of cool designs from the 90s, though, that just bring back a lot of memories. But those are some of the ones that really stuck out first. And not just because Upper Deck are friends of ours, but a lot of those Upper Deck releases from the 90s in all the sports bring back a lot of memories. So, and Upper Deck Collector's Choice. Remember Collector's Choice? When I was a kid in the 90s, that was a fun set to buy because I could go buy a bunch of it. You could that was like $1 a pack, a 99-cent a pack product in the mid 90s, and they made it in all the different sports. So I remember buying a ton of Collector's Choice hockey, basketball. It was a lot of fun. So I like those products. And nowadays, some of those cards that came out of Upper Deck Collector's Choice in the 90s are pretty collectibles. There are some pretty cool parallels out of that were pretty tough to pull back then that have stood the test of time. So long-winded answer to your question. Those are some of my favorite products from growing up. And a question that came from Lamps early on. We're just getting to it. I'm sorry, we're just getting to it. I mentioned that in one of our first episodes, we had too many mailbag questions to get to, and I wanted to go back and grab some of the old ones here that came in, but questions that are certainly still topical. And Lamps on Twitter, he says, I've lost touch with what the premium cards are in hockey. I loved stature in the past. What are some premium cards? And if I'm looking for on-card autographs, what do you suggest? So the Cup just came out. Obviously, that's one. And your high-end products, the Cup, Ultimate Collection, Premier, Stature, you're going to be able to find on-card autographs in a lot of these products. So those are your top or your higher end products, if you will. If you're going out buying singles, getting into breaks, if you're looking to grab a box, those are some of the ones that you might be able to get the on-card autographs from. But if you remember our conversation last week with Ty the Card Guy, we talked about some of the bang for the buck products that are out there, and he brought up Credentials and Ice. I love both products. And for kind of middle tier products, you can get on-card autographs out of Credentials and Ice. And it's just another area where Upper Deck's done a heck of a job because they've managed to keep the cost of entry really reasonable, really manageable on a lot of these products. And the fact that you can go grab boxes of Credentials and Ice for $120 or so from last year and have a pretty good opportunity to get an on-card autograph. Credentials, you get one in every box. I think Ice is somewhere around that. But the fact that you have a good opportunity to get on-card autographs at a really manageable price, I think those are great products too. And because of that, there are a lot of singles out there available. So anything from those sets, those are some of the first that come to mind for me. And we thank you very much for chiming in with a question there. Value vintage pick of the week, folks. And last week, and I'm glad I didn't really take any heat for this one. I was a little bit concerned last week when I mentioned value vintage pick of the week, and the card I chose was from 1990. It was the Jaromir Jagr Opeachy Premier Rookie. And I mentioned, full disclosure, I'm probably going to throw some cards out in the value vintage pick that came out post 1979, which is usually what PSA has as the designation, 79, 80, something like that, for what is modern and what is vintage. So thank you for your understanding there. But because I gave you a 1990 card last week on the value vintage pick, I'm going to go to real vintage this time. We're going to go back to the first modern era hockey set, 1951-52 Parkhurst. I was actually very surprised looking up this particular rookie card and how relatively affordable it is. And note when I talk about grades with the vintage, eye appeals the grade doesn't mean necessarily the same as it does with the modern and ultra modern cards. Eye appeal comes into play. So there might be instances where you see that a 3 outsold a 4 or something to that effect because of the color of the card or just the eye appeal or the centering or something like that. 51-52 Parkhurst, the Doug Harvey rookie card, number 10 in the set. Folks, before there was Nick Lidstrom, and before there was Chris Pronger, and before there was Paul Coffey, and before there was Bobby Orr, and going all the way back, there was Doug Harvey. He was the best defenseman in the history of the sport until Bobby Orr came along. And if you go all the way back, he made his fame with the Montreal Canadiens in the 50s. He won 6 Stanley Cups, including the 5 consecutively that Montreal won at the end of the 50s. He was an 11-time All-Star, NHL Top 100 when they did the list back in 2017. He won the Norris 7 times, 55, 56, 57, 58, 60, 61, and 62. It was his teammate Tom Johnson who won that one in the middle of all that. But Doug Harvey's rookie card from 51-52 Parkhurst, getting back to it, I was kind of surprised to see this. PSA 2 in October, $199 sale. There was a PSA 3 going back within the last couple of months, $281. Now a PSA 6, about $1,300 happened in the last few months. It's not a card that transacts every single day, which is why the sales numbers per card ladder kind of jump around a little bit. But I thought that the overall range was pretty affordable and pretty manageable for a guy of that ilk. And from a set that iconic, that's the other thing you have to take into account here. He's one of the best defensemen in the history of the sport. He played for legendary teams in Montreal. Obviously a Hall of Famer, was the best defenseman in the history of the sport until Bobby Orr came along. And that rookie card is in really what's viewed as the first modern hockey set, a special card. And I thought that was a fun one to grab as the vintage pick of the week. And tell you what, the more research I did on it, I think over the next several months, that might be something I look to grab at some point in time. If I can find one that really catches my attention, a copy of it that I really like. So I'll be on the lookout for that. The Doug Harvey rookie card number 10, 1951-52 Parkhurst, our value vintage pick of the week. And the value break spot of the week, if you still find any breaks of the cup that are out there, 24-25 the cup. Nashville, one of the cheaper teams. They don't have one of the top end rookies in 24-25 and not one of the cheapest teams, but I'd say the bottom middle tier, if you will. But per Break Ninja, a site that I use that kind of breaks down checklists, 208 total cards in the product. Per Break Ninja, to give you an idea of the spectrum, Seattle has the fewest cards in the product at 96. Anaheim has the most at 418. So 208 for Nashville, kind of middle of the road there. But they do have 2 RPAs. Fedor Svechkov and Zach LaRue both have rookies in the product. And then you have the Yaroslav Askarov update autographs throughout the product. And then autographs also in the product from UC Saros, Jonathan Marchessault, Roman Josi, and Ryan O'Reilly. Steven Stamkos has relics in the product. Now, these are all of varying print runs and varying levels of difficulty to hit in the product. But I thought that it was a spot in the break that offered a really good variety at a pretty manageable price if you wanted to jump into a break of the highest end hockey product of the year and have a little fun with it. I thought there was a good variety of stuff you could get. Folks, before we let you go, that is your value break spot of the week. Speaking of value break, a great value here. When you're out doing your shopping, folks, you're running out of shopping days. And I know when you're walking through the stores, you might want to buy yourself something too. Blasters of Upper Deck Series 1. They are out and available. And this is one of the versions that has the oversized Young Gun in every box. So when you see the taller box like this, it's got that oversized Young Gun in it. So we're going to get right into it here. Here's our oversized Young Gun. It is from Carolina. Our oversized Young Gun is Ryan Suzuki. So the oversized Ryan Suzuki Young Gun. To get the size comparison here, here's a standard pack. That's how much bigger the oversized Young Gun is. Fun little addition though, and if you were to get the Demidov, the Ryan Leonard, there is some value to those. Now you do get at least one Young Gun per blaster box, and the blasters here, 3 12-card packs plus the oversized Young Gun. I'm going to rip through the base cards pretty quickly here. Getting to here's a Mark Stone glossy, our first insert. A Logan Stankoven Bustle insert. A sizzle reel, topical, Quinn Hughes. Vancouver Canucks, of course. And the rest base cards there. Like I said, quick rip, only 3 packs, Series 1. And I know this isn't exactly the new product, but I think I speak for all of us. Upper Deck Flagship, it never goes out of style. You can have fun ripping this all hobby year. Here is a Thomas Harley Dazzlers. Cool one there, little green color match. A Nick Suzuki Glossy. A Sizzle Reel, Nathan McKinnon. A Portraits, Adam Fox, and the rest base cards. So getting back to it, should have mentioned our glossy in the first pack was one of the parallel versions of the glossy. And the last pack in the blaster box. Let's see what we get. Sergei Bobrovsky right there on the front. All right, through the base cards we go. We have an Encore, Jonathan Marchessault. We have a Young Guns, Edmonton goalie, Olivier Rodrigue. That looks like it may be our Young Gun. Elias Pettersson, goal-oriented insert. And the rest are base cards. But like I said, great value here. That's the blaster box with the oversized Young Gun. So you're always getting one regular Young Gun, one oversized, and it's fun. It's a blaster box. Grab it next time you're out at the store shopping around. You can't really go wrong with one of those. So thanks again, everybody, for being here with us today. Nonsense on Ice, as always, presented by Upper Deck. Big thanks to Billy Celio for stopping by, taking some time out for us. He's senior product developer, senior product manager at Upper Deck. So we thank him very much for his time and excited to visit with him again down the road. Thanks to Rebecca on the other side for the great production work as always. And again, as always, thanks to all of you for tuning in. If it's your first time checking out Nonsense on Ice, we thank you very much for being here today. If you've been with us since the start, since the long and storied history of Nonsense on Ice began, we thank you very much for being here. Tell a friend, comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. We thank you very much for stopping by here today and checking out the show. Folks, until next time, this has been Nonsense on Ice, presented by Upper Deck. I'm Doug Plagens. We'll see you later.